Good morning and welcome to Church at Home with Rachael for the for the Tuesday, the 25th of January. I was going to say 2nd of January. I don't know why I would say that. Yesterday, when I was talking about Roberta Bondar's call for all of us to recognize the existential threat of climate change, she was also talking about, with Lisa LaFlamme, she was talking about the space flights, these sort of personal and private space flights that don't actually do any good for science. And Lisa LaFlamme asked her what her thoughts were on that. And she was quite outspoken, and I was really pleased to hear this. She brought to our attention William Shatner's response, his awesome response to coming back to Earth after 25 seconds in orbit or whatever it was that he was up there outside of our Earth's atmosphere. And she talks about he was almost poetic. He was so in awe of this creation of what he saw and how he felt. And he was standing there talking, and Jeff Bezos was right beside him, the billionaire who made this happen. And he was standing there talking, and he wasn't talking as Captain Kirk. He wasn't speaking as the famous guy from Star Trek. He was speaking as an odd Canadian, a member of the human race, about this beautiful and awe-inspiring and breathtaking thing that he had just witnessed and participated in. And in the middle of his speaking, in the middle of this beautiful moment of him trying to find his words, Jeff Bezos walked away from him to pop open a champagne bottle and spray it all over the rest of the crew that went with him, as if they just won, the Stanley Cup or the NASCAR racing or something. It was, I saw this, when the day that Shatner went into space, I watched him on the news. It never even occurred to me. But when Roberta Bondar showed the I can't think of the word, but the sharp contrast between William Shatner's response to what he had just participated in and Jeff Bezos acting as if he was conqueror of the world. Look at me and what I've just done. There was a distinct and disturbing break in my thought process about what was happening. And she talked briefly about this, because they are not doing anything for the furthering of science. They are contributing to all of the things that we go into the atmosphere for climate change, for this, and that we recognize that for some things, yes, these things are important. Science is important. Space travel is important. We're learning so many things, but is it necessary to do it for no reason? And that is essentially what these billionaires are doing when they send themselves hurtling into space with all of this money, all of this equipment that it's not for any purpose but for spectacle, for fun, for just because just to say I can do it, or I could do it faster. Some kind of billionaire nuclear war, this, who can get to space faster, Russia or the Americans. And now we have, billionaires having the same arguments. It's ridiculous. That contrast between recognizing the beauty and the miracle of life, and how that William Shatner's world will have changed because of what he saw. This thing that he has participated in cannot do anything but change him. And yet for Jeff Bezos, it seems that all it did was solidify and armor on, tighten the armor around his attitude that it's all about the money, it's all about the power, the ability to do what I want to do. I find this disturbing. What is happening in our world? Yes, there have been, for every generation, there have always been people who have sought power, people who have tried to accumulate wealth and riches for themselves. And sometimes there is an altruism available in that. There is a sense of people who are in power recognizing at some point in their lives that power and sharing it or using it wisely to the benefit of the rest of humanity, or at least parts of the humanity around them. But there's always that example of one who simply gathers power, gathers riches, gathers everything for his or her own sake. And it feels like we're seeing an awful lot of that. And that is really that sense of my own entitlement, that sense that it's all about me, is becoming greater. Now, I don't know whether it's simply because of social media and instant communication and that we can see more of it quickly, but it does seem to me that it's ruining our society. Back when before we could have instant everything and a child could know what they didn't have 13 seconds after somebody else got it because it was on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or all the different platforms, TikTok, all of these things. It used to be if somebody got a new toy for Christmas, you didn't know to be jealous of that new toy until you got to school for show and tell after Christmas break, because you didn't even know that somebody else had something you didn't have. You were happy and content with what you had because that's what you knew. And now it seems that with all of the money and all of the power and all of the ability to share the knowledge of what you have with everybody else, we are creating a society that doesn't need, but wants everything right now. You can't wait 24 hours to get something, so you pay for extra fast delivery. You can't wait until your equipment breaks down. Remember back in the days when your equipment didn't break down? My mother had her iron from when she got married for at least 25 years. My grandfather fixed the plug on it for her, and that thing was the best iron she's ever had. She's probably gone through 8 since then. They don't make things the way they did anymore. They make them disposable on purpose. We have become a disposable society. We have become a society that says, if I want it, that's what makes it important. We are not a society that looks at something and says, I need to honor this. I need to protect it. I need to be gentle with it. I need to use it the way it was meant to be used. I need to not abuse it. Whether that's your iron or your car or your books or your home. Right now, it's a move to just take over and take on something else because we need to be better than. We need to be better than we were yesterday. We need to be better than the neighbors. We need to be better than our cousins. We need to be better than, keep naming it. What has happened to us that we cannot appreciate? I invite you to go to YouTube and check out the video of William Shatner speaking about his experience. And for him, that's what it was. It was an experience. It wasn't a notch in his belt. Some other thing he can count off and say, there, I did it. Because for Jeff Bezos, it looks an awful lot like that. It looked an awful lot like it was just one more thing he accomplished. Rather than, which for William Shatner looked like something that he was privileged to participate in. There is a big difference between looking at an experience and saying it's something that I did, or saying it's something that I had the privilege to participate in. Why can't we go back to a world? Why can't we move ourselves forward to a place where it isn't about competition? It isn't about having more than someone else, or having more than I had yesterday, or having better things. Why can't we get to a point where we can take a look at what we're doing, what we're sharing in, what we experience, and say, wow, how fortunate am I that I get to participate in this life? How fortunate am I that I have a roof over my head, a cup of coffee in my hand, a computer that works when I figure out how to use it, that will work for a long time. It doesn't need to be replaced. And I am fortunate because I have been given these gifts and I have been given a heart to use them well. Versus, this is last year's model, I need the new one. It's more important that I beat out the guy next door. I need to have this because I'm important. Well, you know what? You are important because you are God's child. The things that you have, especially the things that you have that no one else does, that's not what makes you important. We need to get back to a world where we can see, like through the eyes of people like Roberta Bondar and William Shatner, the beauty it is and the privilege it is to experience life as we have it, rather than demanding the experience to say that we accomplished something, that we did something. Because at the end of the day, we didn't do any of this. This is all a gift from God. So go out and enjoy this gift of God today, and take every action, every moment you can, to simply give thanks for the privilege of experiencing this moment. Be a William Shatner. Be a Captain Kirk, and not a Jeff Bezos, a captain of industry. God bless you. Have a good day, and I will see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachael.